Hi everyone, and welcome to today's session on prompting, where we will look at different protocols, how to make sure you're measuring what you want to measure when you, for example, do research with LLMs by prompting them, but also protocols for individual private use of your favorite LLMs, for example, if you just want them to help you write papers or retrieve some kind of information that you want. One important thing, so first we will look at what happens if you use LLMs for your own research purposes, so you want to study the LLMs. And the most important thing is that prompting is part of the measurement. And prompting really influences what kind of answers you get. Because it alters the conditional distribution being measured. So if you think back about our very first example on LLMs, how they work, is the core of it is that they predict the next word based on your input. And if you change the input, it's obvious that the probabilities which words come next also change. It really depends on your instruction wording and framing. The order and the labels of multiple choice options also influence the answers. So if you always, for example, ask your LLM which one of the, or answer the question, which of the outputs is the right one, A, B, or C, it really matters what is the example in option A, B, and C. And if you change the order, also your answers will change. Also for the choice and order of few-shot example influences your answers. Few-shot examples are if you give your LLM a new task that it was maybe not trained on, and you give it some kind of examples what kind of answers you expect. Those are the few shots. User assertions or emotional cues change the answers. We talked about sycophancy, so LLMs really want to agree with you. So if you have a lot of emotional cues in your prompts, they will maybe be even more sycophantic. System prompts and hidden product policies change what you get. And this is something that you cannot control because system prompts are oftentimes hidden and basically change what answers you get. So it's important to always report which model you use exactly when. Also, what kind of documents are included or your conversation history, because nowadays LLMs are really made in a way that they remember who you are, what you discussed already, and they kind of keep like a knowledge database about previous conversations. And this, again, also changes the conditional distribution, so it's very difficult and important to always make sure that you're having like a fresh start and it does not rely on some conversation history, so it's not reproducible what you're prompting if someone else does it with their account, for example. Also about the uncertainty quantification techniques that we discussed about, if you, for example, ask for a confidence or the exact requested format or role of your answers, that can also change your outputs. Okay, so concluding, we want to say that a single prompt is not a stable measurement. A prompt search on the test set is a form of overfitting. This means the prompt search is if you repeatedly use your test set to figure out which prompt is the best. This is basically like multiple testing in classical statistics. So you are overfitting already on your test set. You are reusing and abusing this. So really make sure that you say what was your procedure of figuring out the prompt, report everything, and not just the best prompt. Also, the exact prompts are part of the method and must be reported. Also, confidence should be stress tested against meaning-preserving variance. So we talked about this semantic entropy. We're interested that the meaning, if it stays the same, that it should also give you like similar answers, basically this way. Also, if you ask for a confidence score or a chain of thought, it can also again change the answer because it changes the conditional distribution. So if you use LLMs for your research purposes, you should really pre-register prompt family and use a held out prompt development set. So to really make sure that you're not prompt searching on your test set and only reporting then the results on the test set that was really not used for the prompting. Okay, so since maybe not too many of you are using LLMs for research purposes, but still it's important to understand how they work, and I think those are still some interesting insights for everyday users. I hope you were still taking something from this session, and that's why we will now continue with protocols for everyday use. Okay, so when you prompt your LLM and it gives you some high impact claim, really verify your original source. So instead of, I don't know, changing your investment strategy because an LLM tells you to sell certain stocks or buy some, really verify the source there. When you use it for your own research, even without studying the LLM, check whether those citations exist. So hallucinated citations are something that was observed a lot. So how I work with it is that I, instead of putting citations directly, I'll ask the LLM to just link to the DOI, and then I check which paper it is and connect it to my citation tool and so on. Also, check whether the citation actually entails the claim, because also sometimes the LLM just puts it there without actually making sure it supports your claim. Search for missing counter evidence and affected subgroups, because we know LLMs can be biased, and sometimes it just reports the one thing because it's sycophantic again, and it wants you to like give all the resources that you ask for, but maybe there is even much more counter evidence to that it's ignoring just to not upset you. One solution to this is that you reverse whatever you stated before, and again ask to not use the chat history, or if you can, start with a very new, for example, account, that you have different accounts for different types of questions where you can use them independently to exactly test for the sycophancy. Sample alternatives to detect the instability. So this is just like one uncertainty quantification method that we discussed about, and you can also just use it in your individual use without specifically measuring entropy and so on, just seeing what kind of answers does it give you. And also always escalate to a qualified human if the error cost is high. So don't always trust an LLM just because it seems very fluent, for example. Also, if you have like some important information, or something that you really, it's important, it's useful to record the model, the version and the date, the exact prompts and so on. So you can verify the things later on if you work on it. We are funded by DFG. Copyright. Goodbye.